Hey, Zach. Am I going to get roasted for my look today on the show, or am I back to being like normal, like middle-aged guy? Not
No,
Steve
you look
Buscemi,
great.
hello fellow kids guy.
No, you look great today.
Chat was good yesterday.
Professional.
Chat was
Yes.
good yesterday. Chat was on it yesterday. Chat had some great points and some good roasts as well. So I think we're going to snuggle up a little bit more with the chat today to kick off the program. Tyler's going to be Tyler of the Edmonton Yaremchuks will be with us in about 15 minutes. So we look forward to talking to Tyler about all issues Edmonton. And one of the things, and I just mentioned this on Daily Face-Off Live this afternoon. What if? I'm thinking about how does Edmonton get back into this thing? Tough loss for the Oilers yesterday, 1-0 against the Minnesota Wild, but like the Wall of St. Paul, like no one gets one by Jesper Wallstedt. Like it doesn't happen, right? What has he got? 10 starts and 4 shutouts, like 4 shutouts in his last 6 games or something like that. It's insane the way this goaltender's playing, and called the trophy and all. Here comes another.
Did you see what Ryan Whitney tweeted about?
No. What did Whit tweet?
It makes me sick. Wallstedt is on the Wild. He says when he should be an Oiler, and the nickname "The Wall of St. Paul" is so good it hurts. The Wall of West Ed Mall is just as cool.
Hockey baby.
I like that one.
Yeah, that was. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say about that one. Like there have been a few. Like one of the things I mentioned this on yesterday's show. One of the things that general managers hate doing is people combing through old drafts and why didn't you do this and why did you take this guy and why didn't it. The one thing that we tend to forget about when it comes to drafting, and when you look at a team that has like a long time poor record of drafting, I don't necessarily think that it's about the picks. Because drafting is one thing, but the development piece is another, maybe even bigger thing than the drafting itself. We just think that a guy gets picked and then goes into the NHL and nothing happens in between. And that player is the exact same player. The development piece, as any manager will tell you, any team will tell you, anybody that's watched hockey for longer than 5 minutes will tell you, that's more important in a lot of ways than the pick itself. Is what happens in between. What's the environment? What's the development like for that player? And a lot of the teams that you say like, oh man, this team just keeps nailing these picks and this is incredible. I always look at and say, okay, like, yeah, great job identifying, but 2, you have the development piece as well. And they're in the right situation around the right coaches and around the right players to be there. That's why you see a lot of teams, once they draft players, try to nudge them into situations where they'll develop better, right? You want to get players to certain teams. You want to get certain players to certain environments because you know that what they need, they're not getting from, and we'll just use the example of like a junior team. I'm not getting X from team Y, but I can get it from this other team. And so you not so subtly work with the agent and try to get that player moved to that team. Trust me, it happens all the time. It's happening right now. Anyhow, so I don't necessarily think that it's always just about, oh, they drafted this guy and we didn't draft him and it's a drift. It's the scouts' fault, because I know scouts are always the one that hang for it. Well, really, the general manager does, but it's the development piece. That's the major one.
The only pushback I have on that one is that the Wallstedt one.
No, stop.
Felt...
No pushback. No, I will not entertain any criticism of anything that I say.
I agree with you for like 97% of picks in general, because I have that fight a lot of time where I'm like,
Fragile
how do you
ego.
know? How do you know that guy turns out that way? How do you know that guy works here? How do you know he becomes that player, etc.? But the only caveat to this is the Wallstedt one felt like a pretty easy pick for the Oilers to have made. Again, to your point, who knows that he turns out to be this player, but it felt like, hey, here's a need the Oilers potentially have and an opportunity to add to that cupboard, as we had Gregor on talking about it the other day, and he's like, you can just Like, nobody ever complains about having too many good goalies. Like, that's a problem you want to have. There was no issue with adding Wallstedt to your list of guys in the program, in your organization, and they opted not to. Like, that one felt like one they should have done. I know it's hard to look back revisionist history and be like, told you so, you should have done this. But, like, even in the moment, that one felt like one they should be doing.
I don't necessarily disagree. I know. I get it. But don't forget, too. And hopefully we're done with this by now. But for the longest time, what has the saying been around goaltenders in the draft? Never draft a goalie in the first round. To which I would always say, why the F not?
Yeah.
Oh, goaltenders are so hard to predict. Or are they hard to development? Do you really have that little faith in your staff? Like, whenever I hear that, because, like, let's face it, like to the Brian Burke point about, general managers are the ones that vote on the Vezina Trophy. Why do they make us vote on the Vezina Trophy? That's the position we screw up more than any other position on the ice. And I get it, and he's right. But I think we're at a place now in hockey where you can identify, evaluate, and then develop a goaltender now better than ever. Hopefully we're done with that, because what normally happens is everyone takes a pass in the first round because nobody wants to be the team that took the goalie in the first round. How could you waste a first round pick on a goaltender? You can get that guy in the second. And then when someone takes the goaltender in the second round, then all of a sudden there's a run on goalies. You just need someone to sort of unlock that door, and then everyone's going to try to grab their goalie.
Yeah.
It's okay to take goaltenders in the first round. It's okay. Have faith in your staff, unless you don't believe in your staff. And then you have a bigger problem. But that's not the goalie's problem. That's your staff's
exactly.
That's your staff's problem. That's nothing to do with you. Anyhow. Okay, here's what's coming up on the program today. You have anything more to blast on me, or anything you want to disagree with me about while we're at it, while you're airing your grievances? Anything else I've said that's offended you? Either so far on today's show or yesterday's program? Anything you want to catch up on? Anything? No? Okay, you're all good?
No, it's been a great start to the week, Jeff. I very much enjoyed these first 3 days. I was checking to make sure it's Wednesday. The days are a blur now. First 3 days of the week have been amazing working alongside you. No complaints. No issues.
Bless you. Bless you. You read that just as I wrote it. The Blueprint is powered by FanDuel. Download the app today and play your game on FanDuel. Coming up on the program. In about 5 or 6 minutes' time, we'll talk about the Edmonton Oilers with Tyler Yaremchuk. And I was just on with Tyler on DFO Live, and I sort of floated an idea out about what does it mean when a player says, I will do anything to win? Specifically, Connor McDavid. What does that mean? Also, we'll talk about the Oilers and that tough loss last night against the Minnesota Wild, where the Oilers are right now. What's the panic level right now amongst Oilers fans? Jonny Lazarus is going to join us now. And we're going to talk about Connor Bedard. We'll talk about the Olympics. We'll talk about New York. We'll talk about the trifecta of New York-based teams. But, Zach, you could work with me on this one here. So Laz is at the Prudential Center skating. Is he doing interviews? Is he doing training? No. He's going to be in full. He's just playing. He's got a game?
He has a game with Devils staff / former members of the Devils, from what I understand.
No way.
Like, there was a lot going on. He's like, I'm going to be in gear. I'm in the rink. I'm pretty sure it's at the Prudential Center. I'm like 99% sure. If I'm wrong, it's not going to be nearly as cool as I'm anticipating it being. But anyways, I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be on the ice. Like, I'll step off. I'll have my phone. We'll jump on. We'll do the hit. He's like, the internet should be good. I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's give this thing a shot. So he's going to be full gear on the show today.
Okay, so this is like, maybe not, as I pour myself a coffee here, this may be not the best hook for it. This is either going to be awesome or just like completely flame out, and this is going to steer the segment into the ditch. This is either going to be really cool or it's just going to be Hindenburg. We don't know. We don't know yet. We don't know.
Pretty much.
That is our promise to you. We're kind of we're driving without a map on this one. But that's what we're going to do.
Also, just a note, he just texted me right now.
Yeah?
This just makes it more fun, the adventure that could be today. Got Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So there's congratulations. The Prudential Center has Wi-Fi. That's Great
Good start.
The Prudential Center, by the way, was home to my favorite in-game segment I've ever seen on hockey television. Now, there have been a lot of greats, and near and dear to my heart growing up, and I'm going to alienate myself from like 95% of our listeners and viewers here, near and dear to my heart was Peter Puck. Peter Puck, Brian McFarlane, who actually lives in Stouffville here where I live. Brian McFarlane and Peter Puck was an intermission feature on Hockey Night in Canada that as a kid, I just loved. The first book I remember ever buying, which would have been at Toys R Us outside of Detroit in Livonia, was a Peter Puck book, just about the rules of hockey. That was my favorite then. But the best segment I've ever seen a team do was a segment called Chico Eats. And it was when the Prudential, oh dude, see if it's online.
Yeah,
trust me, it'll be, check it out, see if Chico Eats. So when the Prudential Center opened, this would have been, when did Prudential Center open? 2007, I think, maybe 2008. They had Glenn Chico Resch. Because one of the things that they sort of hung their hat on was like they had a whole bunch of different types of food that you could order at the Prudential Center. Now every rink does that. Shit, even Brian Burke had his own hot dogs. Remember Berkey dogs? Berkey dogs, right? Bob Nicholson, Edmonton had a burger. Okay? But the Prudential Center had all these awesome things to eat. And the intermission feature was Chico went and ate all of it. And every segment, Chico would try something new. Really low concept, but was the coolest feature I ever saw because Glenn Resch's personality put it over, but really simple. What are you doing for the intermission? Chico's going to eat something. Chico's going to eat a taco. Chico's going to eat some French fries. That's your intermission. Yes, it is. That's what we're presenting to people watching our game today. Yes, it is. And it was, honestly, the best intermission feature I've ever seen in the history of intermission features on hockey television. Chico.
So two things.
Any New Jersey fan knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yes.
Yeah, they do. It's getting pointed out in the chat here. NY Boosts. Marek better be talking about Chico Eats. Nailed it.
Yes, the best.
I got two things for you. First of all, don't feel so old. I also grew up on Peter Puck. So that was a staple for me watching. The only thing that may set you back, Marek, is that I grew up and you were on my TV when I was growing up.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that.
But
I used to
the
love
other
Marek
thing
on
is,
the iDesk with Scotty Morrison. Yeah, thanks. Where's my walker?
The other thing is I searched up Chico Eats. There are videos available most recently of October 2024 of Chico Eats.
Love it.
Like new videos.
Yeah.
He did global series stuff for the Devils, trying things, and then videos around their concourse as of last year. So that's pretty cool that was.
Can you get some of the old ones? Can you get some of the OGs?
I'm gonna try.
The OG
I'm gonna
Chico
try.
Eats. We're just the best. We got to get that on. But first, we got to get to Tyler Yaremchuk. Another tough one for the Edmonton Oilers yesterday. Can't blame that one on the goaltending though. Sorry, folks. You're not gonna pin that one on the Edmonton Oilers 4x6. I'm sorry, Tyler Yaremchuk. Who covers the Edmonton Oilers for us here at the Nation Network and Daily Faceoff and host of DFO Live. And man, I swear you do everything. Like, do they hand you a broom at the end of the day to sweep up? And
they used to, but I delegated that to Liam now. So Liam.
Okay, because like every shop's got like its workhorse, and you are it here. First of all, thanks for stopping by today. Well, before we get to Oilers, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, we were just talking about a segment that the Devils started running years ago where Glenn Resch will, as far as the intermission feature, it's called Chico Eats. I don't know if you ever saw it. Maybe you have, where he just goes to a different area in the concourse and has like nachos or has like a hot dog with like hot peppers or whatever, and that is one of the intermission segments. To me, it's the best intermission segment that I think I've ever seen in my life. Now, there's a couple of ways I can go with a question on this one, but I want to phrase it this way. I think Bob Nicholson had burgers when Edmonton.
The Bobby Nix burger, that's what they call it.
Bobby Nix burger, that was it.
When you when you said that, I let out like an audible groan because it was like a meme here. Like the team was terrible.
Yeah.
Bob Nicholson, couldn't figure it out, I guess you could say. And then everyone would just be like, oh, but at least he got a burger.
Got a burger.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. So one of two things. You can choose which one you'd like to answer. The best intermission feature that you can recall seeing, or your favorite food at a rink. This is midweek. We're just having a chat here on a Wednesday afternoon. You choose best intermission feature or best food in the spirit of Chico Eats.
As a proud Ukrainian, there's something that the Oilers used to do when Rogers Place first opened, and it was like a play on a pierogi poutine. So it was just a big bowl of pierogies, of putahe, as a true Ukrainian would say. It was covered in like this aioli sauce with bacon on top. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
And they served it for like 2 years in one spot and got rid of it. And I fear I'll never eat it again in my life.
No way. So I grew up in the west end of the city. I was born into an Irish family, but adopted into a Polish family. And in the west end of the city of Toronto, where I lived, was all Ukrainians and Poles. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And this whole area, Bloor West Village, we used to rename, because it was all Ukrainians and Poles. We used to rename it. The Honky Hall of Fame. That's what we called it. Where do you live? Oh, I live in the Honky Hall of Fame. Oh, Bloor West Village. That was it. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Meanwhile, wide brush thoughts. What did you make of last night?
In a vacuum, it's not a game that you're upset about from an Oilers perspective. You lost 1-0 to the hottest goalie in the NHL, to who a lot of people would consider the hottest team in the NHL. You put up north of 30 shots. You had a couple of really good looks. Your own goalie played really good. Stuart Skinner made some big saves. So, like, if you're just looking at that game as a one-off, it's like you can build on that. It's fine. When you consider all of the context around it, it's frustrating from an Oilers perspective. They couldn't get the offense going in a very winnable game. This is a stretch of home games. They're playing 5 in a row at home for the first time all season. They're finally done with that treacherous road schedule that they had in November. And a lot of people have kind of pointed to this stretch as like, okay, not only is this going to be a chance for you to get a couple of wins and hopefully get your season back on track, this is a chance to, win 4 of the 5 games and really put yourself back in a playoff position and make up to an extent for the very average start you had to the year. So to lose the first one, 1-0 is frustrating. Then the other element of it is the Jesper Wallstedt narrative is running wild in Edmonton because he's playing so well and because the Oilers continue to have issues in the crease. All anyone wants to talk about is, well, did you know they could have drafted him? Did you know they traded the pick to Minnesota that the Wild used to take him? And someone tweeted me yesterday. They're like, man, this fan base sometimes is like a 3-year-old who just learned a new word. And like all anyone will comment right now, no matter what you put out on X, is like, but did you know they could have drafted Wallstedt?
Yeah, I know, I get it, and I remember when the Tyler Seguin and the Boston Bruins, and now Seguin's with the ACL injury, but when he won the Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins, there was hang on a second, did we draft the wrong guy? Because there was the Taylor Tyler in there. Like I get, like all fan bases are that way, and I do understand it. At what point does it feel to you like the Oilers are going to make up their mind about what this team is? Because teams are different every year. Like, I don't know about you, Tyler, but I always have a hard time with the word rebuild, because I feel that all teams rebuild. Like rebuild, I think the way that we use it means we're going to take it down to the studs and build it back up again. But really, all teams change every year. Teams are always in a constant state of rebuilding. It's like the old philosophy of you can't step into the same river twice, because you change, the river changes. It's impossible to recreate that one moment. So everyone is constantly going through a state of rebuilding, which is why every manager looks at his team and says, okay, I need a runway here to know what I have this season. At what point do you think the Oilers have played enough games for Stan Bowman to say, okay, I know I've had a look under the hood here. I've taken it out on the highway. I know what this thing is all about. I know what we have with this team. Do you think the Oilers are there yet?
I think so. And I've kind of had this take for maybe a month, but like, the Oilers are with the group they have. They're never going to be in a position to punt on a season. You're not going to get to the deadline and be like, all right, let's sell off some assets because we don't think we're good enough to win the Stanley Cup this year. But I also think that, you use the word rebuild. The word that comes to mind this year with the Oilers is maybe just like refresh. Like, hey, maybe this year is not our best shot at going all in and at winning the Stanley Cup. And that's not to say they have zero shot at winning the Stanley Cup. I think if you get to the Stanley Cup playoffs, they can win any series that they're in because of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and how good Evan Bouchard is in the playoffs and all those other things that have allowed them to go on runs the last number of years. But when people throw a Binnington my way or a Jari and in all of those situations, I kind of sit there and go like, all right, are you going to shoot that bullet now? And are you maybe costing yourself a chance at UC Saros in July, at whatever other goalie might shake loose in June or July? Like, maybe this is a year, if you're Stan Bowman, or you go, man, we don't have it the same way we had it the last number of years. So I'm not going to go trade Ike Howard, a first-round pick, whoever the prospect is, to try a Band-Aid solution to give this team an extra 5-10% in the playoffs. Maybe you sit there and go, you know what? Let's get into the playoffs and kind of let the chips fall where they may. If Stuart Skinner gets hot for 2 rounds like he's done in each of the last 2 playoffs, then hey, we're going to go on another run. And if our flaws end up sinking us, then at least we know what they are and we'll address it in the summer when we have some money. But I feel like this is maybe a refresh year where they need to recognize that maybe this isn't a team that's worth going all in on.
Couple things on that. I think that's right now that feels like the smart play. The only thing a couple of things that complicate there. One, what Connor McDavid just did, which is here's a gift. Right? Like, make no mistake about it. This is Connor McDavid doing the organization a solid. The only way I think we can be competitive here is if I make a sacrifice, and that is what Connor McDavid has done. So that's one. And the other thing that I think of is, if McDavid hadn't done that, if still we're looking at July 1st, there's no extension for Connor McDavid. McDavid says, I want to push this until the season ends, and then we'll figure something out. How would Stan Bowman behave? And what would Oilers fans expect, right? Because I think that McDavid looked at what he did for Edmonton and the Oilers organization and said, like, look, I'm doing this not so we can win 1 cup, but so we can win 3. Like, I don't think that McDavid is thinking, I want to win 1 cup here. I think he wants to win 3 or at least 2. I don't think it's just 1. So how much, like, I think what you're saying is right, but if you're Stan Bowman, how do you quote unquote sort of not punt on the season, but just take a pass on it and see how it goes after McDavid did what McDavid did? You know what I mean?
Yeah, a couple of different like thoughts to shoot off there. One, like, if McDavid was unsigned right now, I would be singing a totally different tune. I would be hoping that Stan Bowman is trading the rights to his next child in order to get the Oilers a goaltender right now and like give them an authentic chance to win. Like, if McDavid was unsigned, every alarm bell would be getting sounded right now in Edmonton. And for the notion of like, oh, well, he took less, he did the organization a favor. Connor McDavid, when we were going through that whole thing, one phrase he kind of kept reiterating was like, he believed in this year's team. This year's team, he felt like, had an authentic chance to win a Stanley Cup. And he made it sound like he just wanted to make sure that the next few iterations of the team would be just as competitive. So I think if you were to, inject some truth serum into Connor McDavid and be like, hey, are you surprised that this season has gone the way it has? Like, he would probably be pretty surprised if we're taking him at face value with everything he was saying through training camp. So I do think that's a part of it. Like, did Connor McDavid do them a massive favor by taking that discount? Yes. But that contract and that discount also doesn't kick in until July 1. And I think if you're Stan Bowman, Connor McDavid's not a dummy. I think if you sit him down and be like, hey, load up Puckpedia, look at how jammed we are right now. Like, we can't get out of a lot of these contracts. But on July 1st, we're out of some of these contracts. On July 1st, we have money. And Connor, that's when you'll see the benefit of what you did. We might not be able to get you a superstar goalie at the trade deadline. We might not be able to get you, another high-end top 9 winger right now because our hands are tied. But what you did, it'll pay dividends when you see what I can do on July 1. And I'm speaking as if I'm Stan Bowman here, obviously. But to me, like, there's way more danger in trying to save this season and potentially costing yourself next year, because what if next year goes bad? Well, then it's Connor McDavid going into a contract year again. And it's like, oh boy, is Connor McDavid believing they can do it coming off a bad year, when we were having discussions this past fall about can they do it again? And they were coming off 2 great seasons.
Yeah. So then one of the, because I don't disagree. Like I look at this season, I look at this roster and I say, okay, if they just leave it and Bowman doesn't, scorch any picks or any prospects, and they just see which way it goes, okay? Which I don't think is this. I think Toronto's probably in the same situation, to be honest with you. If I'm Brad Treliving, I don't touch this thing. I just leave it and see what happens. A lot of pressures from above. I'm not sure that that's going to be the way the Maple Leafs end up doing it, but nonetheless. I look at the roster and I say, okay, so who's really going to be, like, who's going to feel like he's 1 year older? Who's going to play like he's 1 year older? And the only guy that I come back to is maybe Matthias Ekholm. But it's not like you're squeezing like the last drops out of a handful of players. You're not, which is why what I think you're suggesting isn't the worst idea at all. I just don't know, again, where McDavid's head is at in this one. And how much of a factor do you think that plays into whatever Stan Bowman decides?
And you're right on Ekholm. Like next year, he's going to go from 35 to 36. His cap hit's also going to go from 6 to 4. So if Matthias Ekholm's not the same top pairing Matthias Ekholm you've had for the last number of years, at least his salary will reflect that a little bit. It's probably part of the reason they were so aggressive in going out and signing Jake Wallman and getting him locked up this year, so that at least they could sit there and say, all right, and I know Wallman came before Ekholm extension-wise, but now they can sit and go, okay, even if Ekholm takes a step back, we have Jake Wallman, who's 29 but doesn't have a lot of miles on his body at all. Like, I think he's played the same amount of career games as like Evan Bouchard at this point in his NHL career. So again, the blue line has some question marks, and Ekholm's probably the one, because I don't think you're going to suddenly get a whole lot less from Zach Hyman when he's 33 instead of 32, and even Nuge when he's 33 instead of 32. Like the core here is in place, and that's why, again, like, I don't think Connor McDavid did what he did to then turn around in July and be like, hold up, we're coming off a bad year. Get me out of here. I'm not playing. Like, I think he sees that as well. So that's why, again, there's not a lot of panic for me this season. See what you can do this year. If you go on another run, that's great. If it's a refresh year, then, again, maybe that just means this front office is even hungrier come July to right some wrongs. Okay, so here's the other thing that I've been thinking, for whatever reason, peek into my brain. Like when I hear someone say, I'll do anything to win the Stanley Cup. A lot of players say that, but I was having a conversation with someone last week about the idea of I'll do anything. And the sort of conclusion that we arrived at is, I'll do anything, but I'm only going to do it on my terms, which really isn't I'll do anything. Everybody's got buddies. Everybody wants to win with their buddies. Everybody wants to play the way that they want to play. When you hear McDavid say, I'll do anything to win the Stanley Cup, or this is all just about the Stanley Cup, does that to you, because to me it does that mean I don't care about the friends that I have along the way? I don't care about the friends that I have on this team or who I'm close with. Winning a Stanley Cup is more important than me being besties with a bunch of guys. And I'll take it even one step further. Does it also mean, and I'll use the example of Jack Eichel here, does it mean that I'll do anything, even if that means I have to change the way that I play? We've seen a lot of solo missions from Connor McDavid this year. Like, there's been a lot. I mean, you're there for every single one. You've watched every single minute of every Oilers game. You know more than me. There's a lot of solo missions by Connor McDavid this year. And you can just tell, like, damn it, we're scoring a goal and I'm going to do it. But when you hear I'll do anything, does it mean friends are secondary and the way I play is secondary? Because it does to me. I mean, yeah, you would hope so. But then you kind of hear that, there's been pushes, and this goes back to the summer of like, they want Calvin Pickard here, right? The team loves Calvin Pickard. And I do think at some point, again, that Band-Aid's just got to be ripped off. Like, as much as he's, like, hey, sorry that like Calvin, like, I don't know, as much as he's passed every test, and like, I can understand why a guy in that room who went through the last couple of playoff runs where like Calvin Pickard has saved their ass in both of them. Like, I can understand why you'd have some loyalty there and why you'd love a guy like that who, you know, has been beloved in every room that he's kind of gone through. Talk to anyone who's been within arm's reach of Cal Pickard in the NHL, and they all love him. But at the same time, like, if it's stopping you from making a legitimate upgrade, like, if you're Stan Bowman, like, you can't let the tail wag the dog here, right? You got to just do it and say, you know what? If the room's upset with me right now or is upset with this decision right now, first off, play better, right? Like Calvin Pickard, if the team was playing better in front of him, probably doesn't have an 840 save percentage or whatever it currently sits at. And two, if the team's mad at you right now and you're Stan Bowman, have the courage of your convictions and say, you know what? In 6 weeks, when Connor Ingram's giving them better results and helping them win games, they'll get over the Calvin Pickard thing pretty quickly because winning should be all that matters. So I've never thought that that's like a huge issue in Edmonton, and I know this is something that kind of went viral on Instagram a while ago, and Leon Draisaitl himself commented on a clip from one of the other stations here in Edmonton where they were like, how come the Oilers always seem to need the big bad veteran in the room, right? Why did they need Duncan Keith? And why is Corey Perry's absence so strong right now? Like, why do they always need that firm, strong leader in his late 30s when, like, okay, Leon's in year 11, Connor's in year 10, like Darnell Nurse is in year 10. They shouldn't need that anymore was kind of the messaging behind it. And I think you look at this year, like, it's a fair question to ask right now, I think, of like, okay, why are they like missing leadership? Like that they shouldn't need that help anymore at this stage in their career.
If they could have, let me close on this one. If they could have one redo on a player that escaped, and maybe the answer is the obvious one, Corey Perry. If they could have one redo on one player that escaped, who would it be? Who would it be for you?
Like just this past summer?
No, through this run, like give it a couple of years here since the Oilers became like, you know, maybe going back to that Vegas series, man. That's funny because Connor and Leon will still talk about that Vegas series they squandered. Maybe going back to then. Is there one that you think the team will look at and go like, ugh, I want to redo on that one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of trades that I don't think they should have made. Like the Nick Bukestad trade where they throw in Michael Kesselring, and now Michael Kesselring's an everyday NHL defenseman. And it's like, that's one where like you picked him late in the draft and he turned into something and you gave him up for a rental in Bukestad that in hindsight, you probably didn't really need. Like that one really, really stings, giving up on Kesselring when you did. Holloway stings too, right? Like you look at everything they've done now the last 2 summers, and I know signing Arvidsson and Skinner was before the Dylan Holloway thing, and they kind of thought they were going to, you know, have their cake and eat it too in terms of bringing in vets and then keeping Holloway on a discount deal. But like, if you just take care of Dylan Holloway last summer, you're looking at a forward group that has a good young piece in there. And sure, maybe you don't have Vasily Podkolzin in the mix, but then you also you wouldn't have spent this last summer taking swings on a guy like Andrew Mangiapane, whose results have been very meh through 6-7 weeks of this season. So the Holloway one stings. Trading away Kesselring stings. I'll even go back, like if you want me to throw it back, whatever it is now, 8 years. In 2017, when they had Connor and Leon on their discount deal still, and they were young, and it was their first crack at the playoffs, and all they did was acquire David Desharnais, and they had cap space, and they had assets, but they said, just the playoff experience is good enough. Then you lose in 7 to the Ducks, and you had this historic year from Talbot, who played 73 games that season. That's the mistake, and that's why I keep bringing it up on Daily Faceoff Live. But like, if I'm Kyle Davidson this year, I'm looking at that 2017 Oilers team, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not making that same mistake. We have money. We have picks. You can't have a lineup with 11 kids in it next season or whatever. Like, don't make the same mistake that 2017 Oilers team did. Because what if they would have traded a second-round pick for an impact veteran? Maybe you go beat the Ducks. Maybe you're in the Western Conference Final. How does it change maybe Jordan Eberle ends up having a big conference final, and then you don't do the Eberle for Strome for Spooner train. That was just an absolute disaster at every turn. Like, that was the first domino and the first real misstep for me, where it's like, that didn't make sense in the moment. It didn't make sense 2 months after. And 8 years later, you look back and you're like, damn, they missed a chance then.
But Tyler, trades are hard. We'll end on that one. Trades are hard, guys. Trades are hard. You're the best. I know you got Oilers Nation every day to get to here at the top of the hour. Thanks for parking time for me today. Much appreciated.
Yeah, I replaced Berkey, so I should have done this.
Oh, hang on.
I should have been.
I asked you on DFO Live to do your best Brian Burke impression. Normally Berkey's here on Wednesdays, but he couldn't make it. Had something else come up. Do you have a quick Berkey impression for us? Give me one.
So, like, what is it? Like a gargling voice of
you just
and then you got the bloggers doing their redrafts, and they don't even know what they're talking about. Their ass has never been in the jackpot.
I told Boston I would offer sheet Kessel unless they made that deal. They knew that I would offer sheet him. Awesome. Great stuff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Tyler Yaremchuk with the Berkey tie around his neck. We got to hustle to our next guest because he's only got a few minutes for us, but this could be really cool. He is one half of the Impact Players, as we call him around here, the host of Morning Cup of Hockey, who is geared up. Oh, look at you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, first of all, Jonny Lazarus, one of the things, so every year there's a couple of different agencies that I'll go and I'll talk to the kids before the draft, and I'll sort of teach them like what the media landscape is like and how you do interviews, how you do a walk-off, how you do a studio setting, what you can expect, and sort of give them advice like, when you get to a market, make sure you know who all the media people are in that market, get acquainted with them, get acquainted with their work, refer to them on a first name basis. And one of the things I always tell the kids, if I had a chance to talk to you, I would have told you the same thing. Mm-hmm. When you're doing a walk-off interview, that is a free commercial for you. The first thing you should do is
take my helmet off
and take your visor. That is a full-on commercial for you, Jonny Lazarus.
So for me, Jeff, as a kid, I always wanted a walk-off interview with Jeff Marek, and this is how the players did it. So this is my chance to be a player. Okay,
that's cool. So we got to get should have a hockey night towel around your neck and the whole deal. First of all, scene set for us. So you're at the Prudential Center right now. Who are you skating with? Is it actually Devils alumni?
Yeah, I'll show you. Here, if you can. I'm just in the lobby right now, but here's the scene.
Oh, this is so cool.
So that's the Devils practice rink. They do this every single home game day. So this week they're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm coming back Friday. But Andy Green's out there. Travis Zajac is out there. Jeremy Colton's out there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Zajac's actually on my team. I was giving him some breakout passes.
Man, he is he honestly went, and back in his day too, I always felt he was one of the most underrated players in the NHL, full stop. Yeah. Man, did I love Travis Zajac. Oh, what a thrill. That's so cool.
It's cool, yeah. I got to tell you, Jeremy Colton is dancing out there. He's unreal. Very intimidated by him when I'm going against him. But, yeah, it's really cool. Colby will give me shit, and I know the chat will give me shit for saying this. One of my best friends, Lewis, used to work for I say one of my best friends. I have a lot of best friends. Lewis used to do sales for the Devils, and he played at Wagner College, which is Division III. So, I guess they invite anyone who's played hockey. It's cool. The staff, all bring their suits for the game tonight in the locker room. So they're going to shower, put their suits on, and just go right next door to the main arena. And how cool they get to block off, an hour of the day on game day to come out and skate and just have a good time. There's music blasting. The vibes are high. It's just, honestly, it's, one of the cooler things that I've ever been a part of.
Dude, that is so cool. I'll tell you a quick story. So when John Ferguson ran the Toronto Maple Leafs, every year at the then Air Canada Centre, now Scotiabank Arena, he would coordinate a media game. And you know how much media there is in Toronto, so it'd be a good game. There'd be a dozen each side or whatever, a lot of media. And we would all go because you get a chance to skate at the Air Canada Centre. And I'll tell you, the one thing, and I'm not going to name the names, but you probably know who they are. So, again, this is all media. I mean, a couple of assistant coaches would get out, Keith Acton would get out there too. But I always found it astounding because it's just media guys and girls. No one's a star. And there was always a couple of people that took it way too seriously and were always way too rough and way too physical and way too aggressive. And there were two of them specifically in Toronto media. And they were, interestingly enough, the two that were always the most anti-violence and anti-fighting media members. We would sit there and go he's going to write 2,000 words about how violence is ruining hockey. And here he is trying to kill us on the ice at the Air Canada Centre.
No friends on the ice, right?
I get it, but it was just like the funniest thing ever. It's like, oh, okay, here we go. Oh, there's another high stick. Okay, well, there's a slash. It's like, this is a media game, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Okay, are there moments in the game? I'm gonna ask about NHL issues here in a second, but are there moments in this game where, because like you never really get the player out of you, where like, okay, he's just gonna have a friendly game and it's gonna be cool, and then like a team goes down 3-0 and someone says, screw it, I'm filling the net. Like, enough of this. I'm not. This can't happen, and then you start to take it more seriously.
So this is only my second time here. I know we do like games to 5, I think best of 3. And like Zajac has his kid out here, Carlton has his kid out here. So it's not like it's super intense. Like I think they're maybe, 13, 14 years old. There's actually one kid, I'm blanking on his name. I met him, last week, but I'll get his name for you another day, who plays with the New Jersey Avalanche, who's apparently going to be drafted like OHL this year. He's actually gross. I'll get his name for you, and I feel bad that I'm blanking on it. But he's 16. He's on my team. He's unreal. Nice. But no, it doesn't really get heated. I mean, guys are still trying hard. Like I'm winded. Like it's a tough skate. But again, like everyone's out here to have a good time. The music's going, and it's all about smiling and having fun.
Okay, a couple of things here. On a sour note, we'll start off. So ACL for Tyler Seguin.
Yeah.
We don't know how long, the nature of the severity, but this is a guy that's coming off of hip surgery and getting back to it last year. You just feel like crushed for Seguin. The reality of it is it might just open up some significant cap space for the Dallas Stars, right? Like the sunny side of the mountain to the shady side of the mountain. One, you feel horrible for the player. You feel horrible for that room. The guys love Segs, like the whole deal. We all know how much he means to the Stars. How do you look at this situation now for Dallas?
You know what? I honestly haven't really thought that far, to be honest, but I was talking to Jamie Benn a little bit yesterday and just talking about how deep this team is and how the top end talent is probably the best it's been since he's been there. You look at their top 2 lines, and Seguin, was playing top. He was kind of in the middle 6, but getting second line minutes, I believe, with who was he with last night? Hinson and Robertson, maybe. I think that's what his line was. Maybe I'm mixing up, but either way, who is Dallas going to be able to go get? Like, that's the big thing, right? I think a name that comes to mind, but he's kind of said out loud he wants to stay in Pittsburgh now, is Malkin, with how well he's playing. Dallas, obviously a team that's been knocking on the door now for about like 5 years, ready to punch through it.
Kadri,
you got Kadri, is that the name you're looking for?
No, I just got a little something in my throat. Kadri.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the money makes sense, right? What's Seguin making, like 7?
9.
Not. Oh wow. Okay, so yeah, that's a clear hole then. So yeah, I guess Kadri's the name, right? Yeah, I don't really have another name I can come up with unless they try to negotiate a trade for like an Alex Tuck too, and try to fit him in and maybe sign him long term. Because obviously Buffalo's looking to make some deals too, right?
I would imagine so, and I would imagine like at a certain point with Alex Tuck and the Buffalo Sabres, like they need to know, if he's going to stay, what the number is going to be. I think it's more similar to the Adrian Kempe contract. When you look at the production of both, are more similar than different. So I look at the Kempe deal and say it's an $80 million deal. 10 times 8. Like that's what it looks like for Alex Tuck. Does Buffalo want to do that? Is that really Tuck's number? Does he want to stay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? If not, listen, his wife is from out west. Maybe they want to go back. Edmonton seems like a great landing spot for someone like Alex Tuck, but I'm with you. Like, don't disqualify a team like the Dallas Stars. Let me ask you one more thing before you get back on the ice. Yeah. I know you got a split here. I had this fantasy yesterday about that Dallas Rangers game, and the fantasy went like this. And it involves an old highlight from an old Toronto Maple Leafs Buffalo Sabres game, and it involved Miro Shatan. I thought it was Max Afinogenov, but I was wrong. And people texted me and DM me right away.
81-61.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, come on, Marek. So that Jason Robertson scored a huge goal in the game last night and skated by the Rangers bench and did the call me to Mike Sullivan in USA Hockey. Your thoughts on Jason Robertson right now in the Olympics?
Yeah, last night he was honestly pretty quiet. I don't think Dallas really generated a ton of grade A chances against the Rangers. Like you got to credit the Rangers for how they played last night. But Jason Robertson has been the hottest goal scorer in the league, and
Yep.
I had the chance to talk to him yesterday. He said like flat out, Mike Sullivan doesn't get to see a lot of me. He's been in the East for 10 years. I play in the West. We see him twice a year. Like this is definitely a game that adds a little flavor. Glenn Goaltenders said that as well. It's obviously it's not in the back of Robertson's mind. I think it's in the front of his mind that he wants to prove himself and make this team. And Team USA needs goals, right? Robertson's also a guy who can play heavy. While he didn't score last night, the first goal that Capobianco scores for Dallas, Robertson's battling Braden Schneider right in front and takes Igor Shesterkin's eyes away. Robertson probably won't get an assist on that play, but if he's not there at the net front, that puck's not going in. So that's probably something that Mike Sullivan's looking at too. Hey, you got a guy who can score 35 to 40 goals, and he'll also mix it up in the front of the net. Like, who wouldn't want that? Obviously a guy who could score in the power play too. He does it all kinds of ways. The one thing I'd say Robertson doesn't have is like quick feet, but it's not like he's a bad skater. He's not afraid to get in the mix. He doesn't shy away from physicality. He's got a really good shot. And again, like right now, he told me like, when things are going as well as they're going right now, when you shoot the puck, you're not even necessarily picking a spot. You just think it's going to go in if you get it on net, right? Like that's what happens when a goal scorer is hot. When a goal scorer is not, like he said, he went 9 games before this without scoring, and he's probably overthinking a little bit too much and trying to pick a spot, pick a corner. So he's a really, really nice guy. Even if he had a hat trick last night, I wouldn't think he'd be the kind of guy who'd walk by and do this.
Do the phone. Let's go.
I don't know if that's in his bag, but he's a guy that's easy to root for. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Player interview. You're about to go out there. You're an NHLer, Jonny Lazarus. Okay. Give me player talk here. I want player talk. Okay, Jonny Lazarus, about there to go out there. You're playing on a line with Travis Zajac. How much of a thrill is it for you to play on a line with someone you grew up watching?
Yeah, Zajac tormented me for years, but I got a lot of respect for him. He's a hell of a player and works his bag off. He's a guy who does anything that the coaches ask for. So, huge honor for me. Am I doing enough sniffling? Big honor for me. And hopefully we can go out there and steal 2 points here.
I was going to say these 2 points are huge against this team. It's going to be a tough out. What do you need to do to be successful?
Probably put pucks behind their D, take away the walls, force pucks up the middle, and kind of attack there off the rush. So we got a lot of speed and a lot of skill on this team. So hopefully we can put it all together and have a complete 60 minutes.
Good luck. Go have fun out there.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Yeah, there we go. You get to do a walk-off with Jonny Lazarus. How'd I do there? Still have my ringside chops there for you, Zach?
So dumb. So dumb.
So good.
That's so funny. I love
So
that
good.
so much. And I was so happy he was doing the sniffling, because if he didn't, I
sniffling's
was
the
going to
best.
come on here and do it with you after. And it's always the only thing he missed was helmets should be up like that, and the hand on the hip, and then the
Well,
and then the muttering at the end. He should have said the way he said your name when he was walking off a little bit quieter. Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
No, you know what's best when because they're just so trained to do it, even though they're being interviewed by one person. It's always okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's so true, actually. Yes. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Is there like a ghost here with me too?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
And nothing shows you got your own personal thing together. Quite like thinking you're talking to 2 people when you're actually talking to one. Oh, that was
Thanks,
great,
guys.
man. Johnny does good walk off. That was good.
That was
The
good.
sniffling was, that was clutch. Well, as coach always says, it's a man for man or better than any team in this league, and all of our answers are in that dressing room right now. As long as we play our game and stick to our foundation and stick to the way that we know we can be successful, we can beat any team in this league.
And then you should have thrown in like another, in there at some point.
There
And then
probably
the
should have
sniffle.
been.
Yeah. And then all the answers that you gave, the way you said that, you just missed the or
Yeah,
you know.
you know. As I said.
Well, Johnny,
like
if I
said-
knew, I wouldn't have asked you.
I swear, man. Like, if I were you're the same way. Maybe everyone in the chat or anyone listening or watching probably the same. Regret not like fucking around more when you did walk-off interviews. Like, just be like, not be a jerk, but like just I think you're frozen right now, Zach. Just like be oh, there we go. We kind of got you back. Just be like, have more fun. Like if I were a player, Like at the end of every interview, like as I'm wrapping up my answer, I'd be like, how'd I do? Was that a good answer? Oh, I like your tie. Where'd you get those shoes?
Yeah.
As opposed to just
I would
being
have
like,
had fun with them.
stare on the camera. Yeah, well, we just got to get, pucks behind their D and play our game and get traffic in front of their net.
I think that these guys have to be. Now, look, I understand it because if you look at some of the bigger markets, like let's say a game is it's a 1-goal game and McDavid gets interviewed between the second and third and they're up 1, and then he comes into the interview on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday night and he makes a joke, and then he goes out for the third period and he gets a breakaway and he doesn't score, and
He's
Dallas
not focused.
comes back.
He's not focused.
Bang. Not focused. Look at that interview. And it's like,
big
oh
joke
my
for
God,
him.
guys, are you kidding me? Like, do we have to nitpick this? But that said, I think these guys can pick time and place on some of these where have fun with these guys. Like, I get it in the game. Sure, that's a little bit like tougher, but pregame, postgame, why not?
You know who was the best? Who like consistently gave the best walk-off interviews? Like, it's almost like impossible to see a bad walk-off with him. Pat Maroon. Pat Maroon was the finest walk-off interview. Like, there's one, like I mentioned that, like, there's a couple of different agencies that, every year I'll go talk to the kids, the draft eligibles, and have, like, media talks. And there's one interview, I don't know if we showed this last year. There's one interview that I always show them, and it's about 45 seconds. It's a walk-off interview. It's when Pat is playing with the Edmonton Oilers, and it's a Sportsnet walk-off with Gene Principe. And inside of like 30 seconds, Pat Maroon nails every single thing that you should do during a walk-off interview to make it like entertaining, watchable, insightful, funny, charming, all of it. You can find this one on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and type in, Pat Maroon walk off, or Pat Maroon talks about fighting Chara, walk off interview, Gene Principe. Okay. Everything from like the helmet is off. He refers to Gene as Gene. He makes a joke about himself. He talks about how much respect or whatever he has for Chara. And I'm glad I'm still alive after the fight. Like, has a laugh, all of it. Thanks Gene at the end. And like, I don't think that Pat Maroon for 1 second had like any type of sophisticated or otherwise media training. He's just a natural. Yeah. Pat Maroon is just a complete natural at the walk-off interview. And that's one certain style. Like, there are other guys that, like, whenever you saw like Jean Beliveau interviewed, it was always like dignified and classic, and like that's a very particular style. But as far as being like charming and personable, Pat Maroon may have been the best. Pat Maroon was fantastic.
It doesn't take too much to kind of get yourself beloved by a fan base by just opening up. I look at it, we're experiencing it right now in Toronto with like Troy Stecher. You're hearing about all these guys talking about how much they like him, and then it's like he scores his first goal with the Leafs last night. The first thing he says, and they ask him about it after the game, he's like, yeah, well, I told Cowan and Robertson earlier in the day I'm going to score tonight, and I did. And it's like, everybody in Toronto's like, I love this guy. Like, look, he's having fun. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to be a prick. You don't have to be cocky about stuff. You can just have fun, and people will enjoy it. Like, people will like you. People will root for you. And, like, that's where Troy Stecher finds himself. It's a guy who's a 5'6" defenseman if a roster's fully healthy, and he's like a hero in Toronto. Mind you, he's played really well, but like he just comes out, he says what he's thinking. Yeah, I didn't really work around in the NHL. That was the first thing he said when he got here. He's like, I'm a small guy. I'm not really offensive. I had to figure out how to battle and work my ass off to get loved by teams, or to get picked up by teams. Sorry. And everyone's like, I love this guy. I was like, it's that easy, man. Show some personality.
No. But listen, I get it too, because like, camera, lights, the whole deal. All those hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people watching this thing. I get it. So I shouldn't be so arrogant, just like, come on, lighten up. Like, okay, like it can be intimidating. You know what sucks about, there's one thing that I really disagree with about walk-off interviews. And just so I want to understand, like the walk-off is like at the end of the period, the player comes out, they're in the hallway, it's a stand-up, it takes about, 35 to 60 seconds, and then they're off to commercial break. You never see goalies. Goalies never do walk-offs.
That's a good point.
It's like everybody else can do a walk-off. No, the goalie's not available. No, the goalie's not going to do a walk-off.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of one.
I know, right? Yeah. They are, but here's the thing: why goaltenders? This is why so many goalies become analysts. Is unlike the players, they spend half the period watching the game.
Yeah.
Right? And thinking. Like, they're some of the most thoughtful people that you're going to interview on the team. And in some cases, the biggest personalities. Why don't goalies ever do walk-offs? Like, whenever I was doing rinkside, I was just like, yeah, you can have, anyone you want except the goalies. Why not? Why not? Find me a goalie walk-off.
So I obviously I've never done this, but you have to request who you want, right?
So the way that it works is yes. So the way that it works is they towards the end of the period, the media relations director will ask you who you want to talk to, and they will flag them. Now, sometimes some guys will take a pass, but by and large, like 95% of the time, it's like, yeah, sure. Of course. Now it has to make sense, right? But it's all forwards or defensemen. That's it. And I was always told, and you see it, like go watch games tonight. Go watch your intermission.
Okay.
How many goalies get the walk-off interview? I got like it's a number that's less than one. The amount of goaltender walk-offs you're going to see.
My speculation on this is pure a guess.
Okay.
We just made fun of guys for the sniffle.
Yeah.
What if they are just protecting the guy because they have to approve who the guy is that you're going to get prior to like the last 30 seconds of the period, I'm assuming, right? Like you know who the guy is at least a little bit in advance before they come down that tunnel and you're doing the walk-off, correct?
You can request it, and then sometimes if the players take a pass, the media relations director come back and say like, okay, Andrei Markov can't do it. Do you want Saku Koivu?
Okay.
Like, okay, yeah, sure.
That hurts the speculation a little bit, but my point is, what if they're like, holy shit, what if this guy gets shelled for 3 minutes to close out the period?
No, it's right. No. It's right near the end. Like there's like 45 seconds left. It's like, who do you want? Who do you want? And you just like, blurt out your name,
I'm saying
and then they bring the player.
Okay, even if it's the last 30 seconds straight, and this guy comes down the tunnel to see you, and you're like, so, Wallstedt, how'd you feel about that period there? And he's like,
you let them. They're not live, okay? Like, hang on a second. They're not live. Those are all recorded.
You're just debunking my thoughts. So, but that was what I was thinking.
They're recorded because you want the player to be able to get back into the room as quick as possible. Like that's what they want, right? So they're not live. So they come out. It's a pre-record. It's done really, really quickly. Like, trust me, it's like hurry, come on, go, get the towel on, boom, let's go. And then the player gets back into the room. But yeah, you do let them catch their breath.
Okay. Yes. I'm just thinking.
No. It's all legit. But no, you let them catch their breath.
Vic says, by the way, in the chat, they never gave us anyone above the fourth line on radio, Jeff. Fourth line or third pair defense.
No, I know. Radio. Yes, you're not getting Austin Matthews, Vic. Steven Lorentz again? I mean, he's great and all, but like...
Yeah. Also, JB, John Bankert in the chat pointed out Seth Jarvis, walk-off interview guy.
So good.
An interview. Just a good quote.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Jack Hughes is tremendous. There's a lot more guys that are great walk-offs as well. Now, but yeah, no, those are done right away, and then it's hustle them into the room. But goaltenders, anyone? Nope.
We gotta get Comrie on some walk-offs. He would be good. Awesome. What did you see out there? How's it going?
Yeah, but
we should get him on walk-offs when he didn't play, when he's on the bench.
100%. Who do you want? Backup goalie? What?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. There was one game. I remember doing one game at the Bell Center. And this was hilarious. And I was there for hockey night, and it was San Jose and Montreal. And after the skate, I was in the Sharks room, and I was talking to Ryan Clough. I love Ryan Clough. He's one of the best people to talk to. I love Ryan Clough. So we're having a conversation with Ryan Clough, and he's like, I really want to get one of those towels. And I'm like, hey, I'd love to use you as the walk-off. You just got to do something. So I think he went out there, he scored like 2 goals, and he fought George Laraque or something like that. So it's like obvious, like, okay, he knows I'm going to request him. He was already waiting. Just like, didn't even have to be asked. By the way, he's just like, yeah, I'm getting that towel. I'm doing this because I'm convinced that he like fought Laraque or whatever, just so we could get the towel.
That's awesome.
Got the towel.
He's like, I will do whatever it takes.
Whatever
Life is on the line.
Doesn't
No,
matter.
not to win the hockey game, to get the interview.
Yeah, I
want the
just-
towel.
I don't really even care about the interview. I just want the freaking towel. And then speaking of towel, one of my favorite towel stories. I was in Calgary, and I went to a bar with my producer and Jamal Mayers and Nigel Dawes. Were in this bar, and we just happened to walk in. I'm like, hey, what's going on, guys? And started talking to Jamal, and he's like, hey, can I get one of those hockey night towels? And I'm like, you must have like had like a hockey night walk off, like a intermission or a post game or something in your career. He goes, yeah, I had one, but my freaking brother wrecked it. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, he was dyeing his afro, and he grabbed a towel, and it was my hockey night towel. And it just ruined it.
Oh my God.
He goes, I need to get another hockey night towel. I'm like, okay, we got to see about getting you a hockey night towel, because that's a great that's a great story.
Yeah.
But there, for someone at Hockey Night in Canada, there used to be like a book division. Scotty Morrison used to write Hockey Night in Canada books every year. There's probably a book to be written about the history of the hockey night towel. Which used to be,
sure.
which was like, and still to some extent it still is, like that was like one of the things that hockey players had to have by the time they finished their career. Like now that everyone's got like their boxes they check, win a Stanley Cup, individual trophies, Winter Classic, all these other things, Global Series, whatever, Olympics, but hockey night towel was always a big one.
Yeah,
for everybody.
Rosie got his. He loves that. He's got it on display behind him. So, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, so there we go. There's the walk-off interview. And so start protesting that you don't get to see goaltenders, even backup goal. The thing about Eric Comrie is, though, let me throw one more thing in here before I move on about walk-offs. The thing about Eric Comrie is he would be awesome, but it would never make it to the air. Because you need to be able to speak in like 20-second bites. And Comrie is like the most like
give you
thoughtful, big personality. You ask a question like, well, here's what I think. It's like, can you just do this in like 35 seconds? Not interested. Not interested. So you submit that. It's like, yeah, we can't get that on the air. We don't have the time.
Jeff, we're doing a walk-off interview, not a sit-down feature. Thanks for this, though.
So tell us about that time where you kept getting put on waivers and claimed, and you had like 4 teams in a month. You're a Carolina one day, you're a Winnipeg the next day, and okay. Crave the Stats. We'll move along here, folks. Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. What do we got today? Zacharoo.
Okay, I brought 3 for you today. You can pick between. Starting back in 1949, George Armstrong made his NHL debut for the Toronto Maple Leafs. In 1987, the Boston Bruins officially retired Phil Esposito's number 7 in a ceremony at the Boston Garden. First jersey since Bobby Orr. And then in 2022, Alex Ovechkin played the 1,300th regular season game of his NHL career, all with the Capitals. Became the 14th player in NHL history to play 1,300 games or more with one club.
Remember going to Maple Leafs games, and George Armstrong was at that point scouting for the Toronto Maple Leafs games, and he would always say the same thing. He would get up after the second period, and he would fold up his book, and he would say, "They're only paying me for 2 periods, so I'm leaving." George Armstrong, ladies and gentlemen. Man, was he so much fun to talk to as well. Only paying me for 2 periods. I'm leaving. Every game. It's awesome. Phil Esposito. You're too young for this. What year were you born?
Do you want to know?
Yeah, I do.
1998.
So you don't remember this moment. Do you remember how they retired Phil Esposito's number?
No, I do
So
not.
it was number 7, and at that time, Ray Bourque was also wearing number 7 for the Boston Bruins. And so I guess Phil must have thought, like, okay, they're going to retire my number 7, but Bourque was still going to wear number 7, and it just is what it is. So they had Phil out there, and Ray Bourque came out. And what Bourque did, you can find this is all available online. What Bourque did is he took the jersey off his back, which was number 7, to reveal his new jersey, which was 77, and gave the number 7 to Phil Bourque. And even like Phil was like, oh man, like it's tough not to be emotional. Like at that moment, like Ray Bourque, who one day himself is going to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame and number retired and all that, is surrendering the number to me. It was one of the great jersey retirement ceremonies that has ever taken place in the history of the NHL, maybe even the best. Certainly the biggest surprise and the most emotional when Ray Bourque took the jersey off his back, only to reveal 77 on his new jersey. That was a great one. Trust me. That was like in the history of like NHL swerves, that was a massive one. And again, what year did that happen in?
That one was 87, I believe.
And what was 1987?
That would have been the Summit Series.
The Summit Series was 72.
Whoa,
But Canada Cup
was
was set with 87. 1987.
Cup, yeah.
I'm going to totally, I'm going to like treat you like a cult member.
okay.
It was the best year in the history of hockey. All and only great things happened in 1987. All roads lead back to the brilliance of 1987. That was just another thing. Are you not sick of hearing me talk about 87? You hang around with me long enough, like, oh, God,
I've heard it a
was
lot,
fucking
yeah.
America, 1987, Jesus Christ. But I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. Having me say Summit Series, I'm not a dates guy. I'm not very
That's
good
fine.
with the dates. Don't remember when things happen. Just that they happened and what happened in them for the most part.
The Summit Series was an 8-game series between Team Canada and the NHLers. They didn't let the WHA guys play, so there was no hull. Between Team Canada and the Soviet Union. And there were 4 games played in Canada, and there were 4 games played at Luzhniki Ice Palace in the Soviet Union. That's what the Summit Series was. Canadians
Yes.
think that the most important game was Game 8, where I'm amongst perhaps a minority who thinks that Game 1 was the most important game, because that was the first game that the Soviets won in that series, and that was at Montreal Forum on a very, very hot September night, where really, when you trace it back, that was the birth of international hockey, where all of a sudden Canada realized, uh-oh, other countries are just as good as us.
And yet we're still on top. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there. All right, thanks to everyone for taking part in the program today, including everybody in the chat, including Vic. Producer Vic, who could have done a million other different things, but he chose to hang
FanDuel.
out with us in the chat. Oh, sorry. We got that today. Sorry. Man, see, I'm bad
We'll
host.
just go. We got one quick. We're good.
Oh, we got one? Okay, Sheet is powered by FanDuel. Sorry, FanDuel. The Sheet is powered by FanDuel. As always, play your game with FanDuel. It's the NHL season, and FanDuel is your home for all the action on the ice. From Blue Line to Bet Slip, we've got you covered all season with unique promos, live offerings, and more features to play your game. Missed puck drop? No sweats. We've got you covered with a live same-game parlay. You can build your bets up until the final buzzer. Download FanDuel Sportsbook today and play your game. Please play responsibly. 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. If you have questions or concerns about your gambling or the gambling of someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge.
Don't have a parlay for today, but I have one game I'm really interested in, and it's because of some of the buzz that's taken place on social media today.
Yes.
Our friend Maxime Lapierre joined the Sickos podcast with Pierre Maguire and Tony Marinero, and he was talking about culture in Montreal. And he had a heated, passionate rant about the culture of the Montreal Canadiens, and that
Do we have it?
needs to change now. No, I just saw it like 10 seconds before we went on air. I don't have it.
Can you
I was
grab
not
it for
able to get
tomorrow?
it. I will have it for tomorrow, yes. But it's going viral right now, and I feel like there is a response warranted. So when you look at the 5 games across
Well,
the
hang on.
schedule,
What did he say? So they're playing the Jets. Oh, man, Jets are in a bad way right now. Do you know what
Yeah.
Lapierre said?
Yeah, I mean, effectively paraphrasing, he was saying that the culture they have in the room right now is not the culture that can win you a Stanley Cup. And I mean, the Sabres got a huge ricochet shot in this. He said, you go down one path or the other. You win a Stanley Cup or you're the Buffalo Sabres. I was like, that was unnecessary. But
Hey, man, we're just standing here being the Buffalo Sabres, man.
yeah.
Jeez.
But he was saying, like,
take a shot
he's
at
tired of seeing, Montembeau's reactions when scored on. He's tired of seeing Demidov do spinoramas. He wants to see culture shift in that locker room, because if they don't change it fast, they're going to head down a bad path. And that was effectively kind of the rant that he went
Good,
on.
man.
Yeah. I just saw it pop up because it was going viral
Okay.
when Tyler was on, and I tried to click through to see what was said in it. It was fiery, but yeah, I'm looking for a response from the Habs tonight, who are underdogs against the Jets. Minus 102 against Winnipeg tonight, who's minus 118. It's not that far off, but like, I don't know, Jeff. I know Montreal's just played and lost one last night, but if there was ever a FU
I don't
spot,
know, man.
I kind of would hope that it would be tonight for Montreal.
This is a whopper. And again, like we talked about a couple of days here on the show, like Winnipeg's in a really bad way. Winnipeg's in a really bad way without any Connor Hellebuck, and it's affected like every element and exposed all the weaknesses in their game. And the division they're in is nails, man. Like all of a sudden, like Colorado's going nowhere. Like Dallas is going nowhere. The Minnesota Wild looks so legit right now. Like by the time Hellebuck comes back, who else is going to be in front of them?
Mm-hmm.
With another hurdle for them to jump over. Like, honestly, like, I don't want to say like you're going to get wiped out here in early December, but like you could find yourself, even the Chicago Blackhawks are knocking on it, right?
Yep. Yeah. No, I know. 26 points for the Jets there. You see them 2 points back of the Kraken, the Blackhawks, 3 points back of the Sharks. But like, it's weird how it's not just points that they're losing, Jeff. It's like it feels gross watching some of these Jets games and the way they're losing some stuff right now. Like it just, they had to have a closed door meeting after losing to
I know
the Sabres.
The Swords. Josh Norris is back. Bang, bang, bang. This is hockey's great. Another thing to watch with the Seattle Kraken, just as a side note there, Seattle is playing next against the Oilers tomorrow. One of the things, and we'll talk about it more on tomorrow's show, is Shane Wright's ice time. I don't know if there's a there, but I can't imagine that Shane Wright is too thrilled. But we'll see. I'm going to make some phone calls after this here and see what we'll come up with. But the ice time for Shane Wright, I don't think is too pleasing. We'll get into it more tomorrow. Remind me to talk about Shane Wright. Probably tomorrow morning. Anyhow, thanks for joining us today here on the program. Glad to be aboard as always. Thanks for Jonny Lazarus for doing a walk-off interview at the end of our conversation about the Dallas Stars. Thanks to Tyler Yaremchuk. Don't forget, actually going on right now, Oilers Nation every day alongside him and Liam. Thanks to Tyler. Thanks to Johnny. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to you for listening, being in the chat, subscribing to our Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you as always to Officer Phillips for producing the program. And we'll be back tomorrow. Okay? That's the deal. 1 o'clock Eastern, right here, Daily Face-Off YouTube channel. We'll talk to you then. Jeff Marek along with you. Hope you enjoyed the program today. If you did, or maybe even if you didn't, they can't all be gems, folks. Please hit the subscribe button. Also a reminder, every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, Jonny Lazarus, Colby Cohen, I call them the Impact Players. You might know them as a tandem that makes up the Morning Cup of Hockey. Also DFO Live at noon Eastern. This year, your host Tyler Yaremchuk alongside Carter Hutton. Full day's worth of programming right here on Daily Face-Off, your favorite YouTube hockey channel. And as a reminder as well, Zach Phillips, our producer here for the sheet, said if you subscribe, he'll buy you a puppy. It's true.